off this week's review, I do want to talk about what happened last week, which is that in lieu of a regular episode, or in technically like this week's episode, we had a special episode air in place of this one. And the fact that happened at all, and it happened like practically immediately after the announcement of the manga going on break, isn't all that surprising, as I'm sure Toei was notified ahead of time. But between that happening last week and kind of looking at a sort of rough outline for the next couple weeks of episodes, I actually feel a little less concerned than I was about how this break would affect the pacing of the anime. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there will still be some stumbles, but after watching this week's episode, I think Toei has learned to balance the production of the anime a little better in order to adapt to situations like this and just try harder to avoid a situation like what happened with Dressrosa. And like whether you like how it's one of those things where whether you like how the adaptation of Dressrosa turned out in the end, I think ultimately you have to agree it definitely shook Toei up in a way where they had learned to try harder not to repeat this, like a lot of those same pacing mistakes again. And I feel because that they're trying, even when they're forced to slow things down, I feel they're still trying a little bit harder in order to tell the story tell the story within like each episode. But like then again, I could be giving them too much credit, but I that's kind of the vibe I've been getting as of late with One Piece, and especially with this particular arc, is that actually ever since Whole Cake Island 2, I think Toei's just been trying harder not to make the same flow-ups, even when faced with a situation that would force them to slow the pacing down. On that note, though, it's kind of funny because this is one of those episodes I should be annoyed by because of how it drags everything out for so long, up until the final moments of the episode where Chopper comes in with the cannon and cure blasts everyone infected with the Oni virus. And on a technical level, you could argue that is still a problem, as it shouldn't have taken us that long to get to that point in the episode. But honestly, when it comes to Chopper specifically, I have started to come around to the idea that dragging it out is a little more warranted for his character, as it makes moments like this feel a little more earned, whereas in the manga, it feels like a lot of the great things he does are just kind of treated like narrative afterthoughts, like they pretty much happen, and then move on. Like in the manga, it always feels like, okay, he cured everyone, now let's move on to what the others are doing. Whereas the anime kind of has the reverse problem, which is they spend so much time building up to what Chopper's gonna do to cure people, that they focus on the build up a little too much. But when you do get the payoff of a moment for Chopper like this, with this episode, it does feel much more like a great moment for him. And seeing Chopper face down Queen without a single ounce of fear and telling him off right to his face was just chef's kiss. Like, seeing Queen's whole plan crumble just felt so satisfying, and made even more so by the fact that we also see his subordinates turn on him after Chopper cures them, and after that, just Chopper slapping Queen in Monster Point. That was like the cherry on top of this whole thing. Like, it was all this episode, even though it was a little slow in getting to the good part, it was also felt like a perfectly timed crescendo. Like, it built itself up, and then when we got to that point where Chopper faced down Queen, it crescendoed with Monster Point slapping the bitch. Like, I just loved it. It felt like an absolutely perfect moment for Chopper. Which, on that note, this is an episode that once again shows just how much of a reprehensible piece of shit Queen is. In fact, he outright admits it to him. Like, the Animal King admits it. Like, to Queen, the Animal Kingdom pirates are at best are all just pawns or test subjects, which, again, is one of those things that just further makes me ask where the hell did Kaido find this guy and why he even let him join his crew. Because for however much of a villain Kaido is, underneath it all, and despite how again how evil he does seem, Kaido still does have some sense of a code of honor. Queen has absolutely no code of honor, no respect, no nothing. He's just a reprehensible dick cheese. So and he just has no respect for anyone. So like when it came, like I need to know the past with Queen's past with Kaido. Like I have to assume Kaido just recruited Queen as a sort of a means to an end to help him in building his own army. But yeah, I still hold true to the fact that I really want to know this story. Like how the fuck did Queen end up working for Kaido, or did Kaido end up recruiting him? Like was Queen always a piece of shit like Caesar, or like Caesar and Spondum, or does he or was he someone different in the past? Because Queen really, like, here's the thing with Wano over in the manga, I think we can all safely assume that Wano, for as entertaining as it is, definitely has a lot of flaws. And honestly, looking back, Queen has got to be one of the biggest flaws I kind of actually have with the Wano story arc. Like here's the thing. On one hand, Queen does have his entertaining moments. It is entertaining just how much of a villain he is. But at the same time, Queen really just feels like he's a one-note character created specifically for us to hate. And while it was definitely satisfying, again, it was satisfying seeing his whole plan get shut down by Chopper, as a character, he feels like he does feel like the weaker parts of Wano. Like, I mean, he is kind of fun in how much of a villain he is, but I need a lot more than what we got, which, yeah, if you can't tell, I'm saying this from the perspective of the manga as well. Like, I'm sure Queen was one of those characters created in order for Oda to convey some kind of a message, but the thing is, he's done that before with a lot of other characters and still made them compelling villains. But with Queen, it feels like Oda had favored the message of whatever he's trying to get across over character. Like, the character of Queen just feels very lacking to me, and I don't think I was never really given a reason to care about him, and I can only assume Oda tried. And again, I think Oda tried to compensate by giving him some entertaining, quirky moments to balance things out. But yeah, ultimately, like, of all the problems people have with Wano, Queen's lack of character depth is one of them for me personally. And yeah, obviously we got to talk about that ending where we see Odin himself make an appearance before the Akazeya. And yeah, whether you read the manga or not, you pretty much know that's not Odin. In fact, I'm kind of kidding myself for not realizing who it was. Like, it was so obvious, it was practically staring me in the face that it was pretty much Kanjuro. Like, and honestly, it is kind of funny how with the anime, how perspectives can kind of change like this, because what's about to unfold next up, with Kanjuro, I always hated him in the manga, but now with the anime, I actually hate Queen more, and Kanjuro I actually see as a much more sympathetic character in the anime, and just why Kanjuro is doing the things he's doing. I think knowing how this ends, how the one arc ends, also kind of helps in adding that extra layer of knowing everything Kanjuro does beyond this point what is pretty much for nothing, other than a last desperate gasp at the hope that he would finally be free. But yeah, guys, like, that's pretty much all I've got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. From on Twitter, Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight Vinay signing off. Later, everyone.